Hey yo, good morning. It's Guido and it is time for Coffee Talk. It is Sunday morning, time to sit around and have some coffee and talk about tanks. Well, actually, I'm the only one sitting around having coffee and talking about tanks. You're watching this at some other time. But I've got my coffee, a nice dark roast. I've got the fruity cup today. I like this cup because it's big and it holds a lot of coffee, which is a good thing. Check it out. There's a new hanger going on here, or garage, whatever you want to call it. We used to call it a hangar, didn't we, because it looked like one, but now it's called a garage. But this is clearly not a garage. It is outside, which is cool. Check it out. It is dawn in my garage hangar thing. And there's a guy in like a power armor suit. I see him kneel down back there behind the tank. Not really sure what's going on there. I guess he's supposed to be a tank, a cosplay tank or something. But this is actually pretty cool because there's a lot of stuff going on. It's Wargaming's 20th anniversary, so it looks like a big festival. And you'll note that it is dawn, like I said. So this thing is dynamic, and it changes with the time of day based on your local machine setting. I want to say at 6 and 1800. And when I first read that, I thought it just snapped and changed, but it appears that the sun actually comes up. That's what's going on outside my window over here. Right now, it's 6 a.m. here, which is about when the change starts. And I just noticed that, so I wanted to do my intro while that was happening because it's kind of cool. You may have already noticed that. It's been there for, I don't know, the weekend or so. I want to say Friday. But it's a nice little touch. A lot of times I'm kind of harsh with World of Tanks or Wargaming on a lot of things they do, and we are going to get into their missions setup again on the missions tab up here later on. That's one of the things we'll talk about. But well done there. That's pretty cool. It's a little thing, but little touches like that work are kind of nice. So we'll do a Kursk update. We'll talk about the weekend specials, like I said, and then some subjects du jour. The camo system, let's talk about that. I found something interesting there, which makes me scratch my head. Things that make you say, super test is coming or is out. There is some more information on the numbers. I don't delve too deeply into super test stuff because it changes, but I want to talk a little bit about the preferential tank changes because those are kind of interesting. And then Fjords. Yes, I called it Fjord. Fjords is going to change, and we're going to take a quick look at that. Again, that's super test, so it's just the beginning iteration. It definitely needs some help because that tank, or that map, not tank, is kind of miserable to play right now. And there are definitely in 357 when you're bottom tier, there on one side we'll talk about, but there's no good place to go. You just look at the map and your tank and you're thinking, this is going to be pure misery. I have no place to go to be effective. All right, and then we'll have a conclusion because all good meetings and briefings should have conclusions, right? Or so we've been told. All right, let's get started. Okay, as usual, we'll get our shill on to begin with here. Why is my hat always crooked? Is my head crooked? I think I'm made crooked. I don't know. That's hard to tell. All right, so random hat change or fix. What do we have on sale? Let's shill. The prototype, the 50 TP, the tier 8 Polish heavy premium tank. Run into some of these. The front armor is problematic, but you got to get the right angle. The side's a big billboard. No real issues penning it as far as that goes. Decent mobility, not very zippy, but good enough. And the gun does hit hard, although I understand it's quite derpy. I don't have one, so I can't talk to it as far as that goes. We got the pilot war chest, Pudel war chest, Loza war chest, Rudy war chest. Okay, we get it. Spend a lot of money. You know, this one, clearly people buy it, and that's not what my issue with it at all. It's just, it's the constant barrage of these massive war chests with all this stuff piled on. So there must be a market for it. I don't understand it personally, but there you have it. There are a lot of good tanks on sale. The Rudy is decent. The 3045M is a lot better. I don't really understand the difference between them as far as why, because the 3485M is so much better than the rest based on its DPM and gun capabilities. But the Rudy's got the dog, which I don't think makes a sound anymore. That's been a bit of a controversy. The Pudel is average. I like the 34 or the T25 Pilot. It's actually a nice little medium. The lows I can't talk to, it's just another M4 variant out there. So a lot of different and varied kinds of tanks on sale. If we go back up here, gold, there's not much to report in here. Kind of the standard packages, and well, that's actually minus 49%. It's actually a pretty good deal for $4.99. 1,000 gold, 100,000 credits, and 3 premium days. All right, there you go. So that one is a really good deal. These are the things you want to look for if you're planning on spending money. Dig around through every one of these tabs and make sure you're looking at everything. And you may look at and go, wow, there's a pretty good deal. Now, I mean, it's not like it's $100 down to 50 or anything, but that's a deep discount on a couple little things. And if you are a standard account kind of person and you're thinking, hey, I got a weekend coming up, I want to play this weekend in the next couple of days, that's the kind of thing you want to watch for and grab, because that's a pretty good deal. 100,000 credits really isn't going to get you very far. It's not even going to really buy you a piece of equipment, maybe some of the smaller stuff, but it might be a good boost. The 3 days of premium is huge though if you're running a weekend of gaming and you want to go ahead and have a premium account for 3 days. So watch out for that stuff. Be careful though, because it's like crack. The first one's kind of free. Then you're going to get used to the premium account. I'm not saying I have that problem. I just heard about it. A friend. All right, premium accounts. Usually not much going on here, but watch it because occasionally they have very good deep discounts on premium accounts. I'm shilling good today. I'm really shilling good today. As usual, I don't really understand all these headings up here because here we are back to a bunch of vehicles. Bizarrely, sometimes you'll find specials or deals in the vehicles tab that do not appear in the featured tab. So, of course, there's also specials, but the difference between features and specials, I have no idea. Boosters, I don't really pay attention to. I wouldn't buy those with money, but that's up to you. You get a lot of free ones for playing the game. And we go over to specials, and I didn't find anything else new over here other than you've got some bundles with premium time and some of the heavy tanks or some of the premium tanks over there. So that's pretty much the sales. Other than that one little deal, nothing that's really a swinging deal or a tank that I would say, man, you really have to have. Maybe this one is. Again, I don't have it, so I can't speak to it. All right, let's move on to the missions. All right, for the missions, we still have the Kursk thing going on. We have well, I'm not really sure what it is weekend because that's part of what I'm going to talk about. But there are missions on the weekend that we can do, both some that are tied to the 20th anniversary and some that are tied to just the weekend. Again, hard to tell because it's very confusing on their AI and looking at their website. None of it typically matches very well. And I can't really figure that one out, why it's so hard to get that right. Is it a massive big deal? Am I not able to get the missions done? No. If I go into the game client, and this is really what I recommend you do, the best information seems to be in the game client in the UI for the most part. If you go simply by the website, just use that as a general information because you're really not going to get the picture of what exactly has to happen there until you dig into the UI. So let's look at that for a minute. I'll give you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. If we go to missions, it's going to come up. Usually it comes up to Kursk. We'll do this one first. Kursk is still going. Again, a good deal all around. I am at day 23, so I've done 23. I missed a bunch early on because I was out of the country. So I will get to 30. It looks like I've got, what, Math in Public, 7 to go. 7 to get to my little tank, the T-34 shielded. Lots of those running around. If you have one, let me know how it is. I think it's a Tier 5 premium, Russian. Kind of cool looking little tank, actually. And then each day has a bit of a prize, and there were some trip points at 5, 10, 15, and 20 where there were pretty good prizes. You can see those right there. There'll be another one at 40, which I will not get to. And then at 50, you're actually getting some special camo. So if you're able to actually knock out all 50. And so this was a good event overall. And in general, been pretty easy. You can just trip most of the missions by regular playing. A couple times it got a little, I want to say the bounce missions were a little difficult for people, especially if you're a newer player running lower tier tanks. And maybe you're I guess a standard account doesn't have a whole bunch to do with it. But a newer player with lower tier tanks might struggle a little bit on the bouncing missions. They're cumulative, so it would just take them a long time. But let's say you just had a bunch of light and medium tanks, that would maybe, especially you're talking about 3,000, 5,000 bounced. All right, enough of that. Kursk is still going on. Okay, the missions thing. I'm sorry, Wargaming, you're killing me with this stuff. Let's see, rank battles is going on as well. We won't talk about that, but there are some goodies there. I played 2 games and quit. I think you all know Feelings on ranked battles we can talk about later, but not this week. Object 140 is on track, so that's cool. Okay, so now we get down here and we've got supply raid. Okay, that's the heading. So this is the supply raid weekend stuff. And then we have other missions. Isn't it your 20th anniversary, Wargaming? I mean, wouldn't you put a section that says 20th anniversary missions? I don't know. Does that change the world? No. It's confusing, though. All right, so over on the website, I'm not going to show it to you, but I'm reading it. It says free premium tank and ×2 crew XP weekend. It doesn't really say supply raid weekend, although over to the side of that, it does have mission supply raid 1, 2, and 3, which we have here, going backwards, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, at least we're in a row. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. There we go. Double crew XP for victory. All right, so under supply raid, over on the website, it's called free premium tank and ×2 crew XP weekend. Well, the free premium tank, and I know I'm splitting hairs a little bit here, but it just drives me crazy. So let's just really delve into this whole thing. The free premium tank is part of the 20th anniversary, which over on the website, you've got, so under the section that says free premium tank and ×2 crew XP weekend, you know what, I'm going to actually show this to you because it's pretty funny. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so free premium tank and ×2 crew XP weekend. Supply raid is under that heading. There's 1, 2, and 3. That's the supply raid weekend. And then there's 20th anniversary, which is the free tank, which is this free premium tank, which is actually the 20th anniversary. And then there's the double XP, which is just for the weekend. And then down here is Wargaming's 20th anniversary missions part 2. I mean, did the web developer, did the site developer see this, get this done, and then someone said, "Oh right, there's a couple more," and he's like, "Oh, part 2, part 2. Oh, it's different time." No, it is a different time. Okay, so maybe we're starting to dig into this a little bit, and we're starting to understand that missions part 2 is a different time. All right, I'll give him that. I'll give him that. But couldn't you just put this free tank down here? Oh, but it's not free if you don't log in till... Oh, if you log in on the 14th, do you not get the free tank? All right. Man, I don't get it. All right, hold on. Let's go back. Here we are back here again. So, other missions. And down here we've got the 20th anniversary number 3 and the 20th anniversary number 4 and the 20th anniversary number 1. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't say 1 and 2 over on the website. Where's 2? Maybe 1 was the tank. Okay, I'll give you that. Number 1 was the tank. Number 2 was what? Was there a secret mission I missed in here somewhere? Crew is crucial. Nowhere does it say crew is crucial, I believe, over on the website. No, that word doesn't even... It's mission crew XP for victory. That's not even mentioned on the website. Crew is crucial. But here it is, number 1. Crew is crucial, number 1, and number 2. These are actually tied together. The deal here is you do 3 of number 2. This must be numerology. 3 times 2 is 6. Divided by 3 is 2. Which means that you start with crew is crucial number 2. Is that what that means? All right. I know I'm going on, but I just love this. This is so much fun. All right. What you really need to do, and this is actually a good deal, thank you for the good mission, no thank you for the terrible design, is 5,000 experience earned 3 times in 24 hours will get you, let's talk about that in a minute, will get you the times 10, or the 10 additional crew experience plus 200%, and those are fantastic. All right, so for boosters, that's what you want to get. If I was to translate that into plain English, if you get 15,000 experience, you get 10 boosters. And The way you do it is you get the token, the shell token. This token is a reward item used for completion of a certain mission. And once you get 3 shell tokens, you come over here and it's shell. Quote. What is this? Wait a minute. Can be received for completion of the following mission. Crew is crucial number 2, which clearly would always complete crew is crucial number 1 in that order. Oh, man. Anyway, I got mine. Have we had enough of that? I think I've had enough of that. I probably had enough of that about 5 minutes ago, but that was a lot of fun. It's really not that hard. It isn't. I can't understand that. And maybe it is a product of the move, and they're still getting their stuff together. But like I was saying, if you want to understand it, you kind of need to go here and dig around on this. And I guess why I'm going off so much on it is it really shouldn't be that hard, especially for a new person. If I was a new player and I was looking at that in the website, I would go, I don't know what the F you guys are talking about. This makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. And in fact, I think I've had subscribers here mention things like that with I don't pay attention to it because it's too much to deal with. And so while I'm sitting here saying I've been dealing with this for years and I sort of understand how it works, and after a little bit of searching, I can kind of get the idea. This is something that should be readily apparent the moment you open up and look at it. Unless it's a complicated campaign or marathon or something where you really sort of need to pay attention to what's going on. But for weekend specials, for the most part, you should be able to, as a brand new player, look at the UI and go, got it. I understand the gist of this. Not have to dig around and go, why is it numbered 3, 2, 1? Does that order matter? And then the missions completed thing up here I've talked about before as well. 0 of 4 completed. Well, this one never really gets. Well, I guess it does get completed 11 times, but it's not. I don't think it's part of this 0 of 4 because this is not a situation where if I complete these 3 or even 4, I get something else. This is like an artifact of other systems where you do have to complete all of them, and once you complete it, you get something. But typically, there's another card down here showing that. So it's just, that's the kind of little nitnoid confusing stuff that really just doesn't need to be there. All right, let's move on. That's enough of that. All right, grab your coffee, have a drink. Here we go. There's that tank guy back there. I wish I could zoom in on him. There are some pictures online if you want to get close. Wait a minute. There we go. That's about as close as we can get. What is he doing? He's a tank. Anyway, camo system, TDs. I haven't really noticed this. When the change came to the camo system where you had to actually put camo on certain pieces, I just liberally started putting them on. I didn't think too much about it. It took a while to figure out how it worked, but now it makes sense. And I had a video on that a while back where we talked about it. And I didn't really pay much attention. I can't remember which TD I just got. It was a relatively low tier one. And I had missed a few of those tanks putting camo on them. So they were sitting around and I was starting to do that. And I looked at it and I went, wait a minute. Did I only just put 2 pieces of camo on this TD? So in general, for tanks with turrets, you're going to need 3 pieces of camo. You're going to need a hull, the turret, and the gun. I would have to dig into it. There may even be some that need 4 with the mantlet, but that talks to what we're going to do here is if I go to exterior on this AT, you'll see that there's 1, 2, 3 positions of camo required. And at 50, we go over to camouflage, at 50 gold a piece, so say I wanted to do this one, which is one I don't have in my garage. I'll talk about that in a second. I can go 1, 2, 3, and you can't see it, but on the bottom right here, it's just under my name, but it says 150 gold. So it's going to cost me 150 gold to do those 3, all right? So if I go out of this, exit, I go find another tank. Let's find the Foch. Let's say I want to put camo on my Foch. I go to exterior. I grab a camo that I don't have in the garage, and I go, all right, I need 1, 2, 2. This one only costs 100 gold. Camo styles, I believe the pricing was by tier. If I recall in the past, it was by tier. They changed it so you can kind of customize, which is cool. And then they decided to charge you gold for each section. The other peculiarity of it is that your camo rating comes from the big hole camo, which means you don't need the gun. So you can take the gun camo off and just do the hole and only pay 50 gold. So technically, it's only 50 gold for getting effective camo on each one of your vehicles, but it sometimes looks kind of goofy, especially vehicles with big turrets. So I don't really understand it. I guess that's the justification, that technically you only need 50 gold, so 150 gold per vehicle for each season. But if you want to fully kit it out, some TDs take 2, some take 3, which is weird. So some are more expensive for really no good reason. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's just a mantlet thing, but this has got a mantlet. It's a bit smaller, but it doesn't have 3 positions for camo. I did mention it a couple times. Just so you know, the way you know you've got camo in the garage or you've got some available is down here. This little 18 means I have 18 of these, and the little garage symbol means in your garage. I've got 4 of these guys over here. That's it for this one. This one, the little symbol means that's what's on the tank. You can see it matches what's on the tank right there. So if I was to take these off and put these on, let's say I just do that, I should get, well, I'd have to apply an exit, but I would at that point then get 2 of these back into the garage. If you are messing around and you don't want to camo that one, just come up here to the close and hit exit. If you hit apply and exit, you're getting what you bought right there. So that's just a peculiarity of the camo system. I'm not really sure why it would be that way, because like I said, if you've got a turret on your tank, this is more like or your TD, this is more like a regular tank. So he's got a big turret, a gun, so he's got 3 positions. Then, of course, you've got the AT idea. Let's see, what does the tortoise have? I bet it's got 3. 1. No. The tortoise is 2. The AT-15 is 3. The tortoise, yeah, it makes very little sense. Hopefully, they're going to clean that up. All right, let's move on. Okay, you can pull this off of the website, but I've chose to take it from the Armored Patrol there. Shout out to those guys. Super Test Type 59, 34.3. All right, so basically we're getting some premium tank upgrades. And this is fallout from we're going to remove preferential matchmaking, and then they've backtracked on that, and now they're going to buff preferential tanks. That's interesting to me. They probably need it. It's unfortunate to me they need it because power creep from the rest of the tanks, but that's just kind of a natural iteration and progression of a game. So for all the reasons, and that whole discussion can be made at another time about what, whether that's good or bad. But over on the monitor here, we got the Type 59, and it's getting a buff. So it's been, I think, nerfed and buffed, maybe even 3 nerfs. I can't remember. It was Unholy Terror when it came out, completely overpowered, and was really wrecking the game in a way that I don't think we really saw until maybe the 268 V4 when it came out. But I think the 59 was even worse than the 268 V4. Anyway, it's kind of anemic right now. It's still a good tank, but it's not amazing. It's more of a cool value at this point, right? It's the cool car to have. It's not really the fastest or best car to have. But this is some pretty good buffs because the reload time is going to be not much faster. That's actually not a big change, but a little bit. The DPM's going up to, well, another, 60 or 70, so that's okay. That's based on this slightly faster reload. The rate of fire from 7.1, I don't even know what that means. Oh, okay, for rounds a minute, got it. So slightly up, that's all related to this faster reload time. Aiming time is getting better. That's not a really big change. I think the biggest thing about it, though, is the turret's going from 200 to 230, so that's going to make the turret even more useful. And the engine power is going from 520 to 580, and more important, the specific, or the power to weight ratio is going from there to 16.11. Basically, this thing's going to get some of its mobility back, and that's been the knock on it for a long time. I would have to compare it, but that sounds something similar to T44 levels of maneuverability with the upgraded engine and tracks and everything, or close to it anyway. That's going to make it a little bit more zippy, a little bit better in the brawling area, which is really this thing's forte, is getting up close and personal with things and maneuvering around them. That's why it was so deadly to begin with, and this is a move back towards that direction a little bit. So that's very, very interesting. I thought it was getting a pen buff, but I don't see that. Maybe that was left out. That's interesting because I thought it was going to go from 175 to 182. Interesting. I'll have to look at that. Maybe it already had this pin buff, but I don't think so. 34.3 is getting a little bit more depression, which is going to make it more comfortable. That is well needed. The heat shell is being sped up from 640 to 720. That's going to happen on the 112 and the WZ111. Those are definitely needed changes and will make the gun more comfortable to use, especially in a lead fire situation and at range with tanks that are moving. So that'll be helpful. But what I don't understand is why it didn't get a turret upgrade. That's interesting. Not much here for the 112 and the WZ. It's just getting the pen and the faster heat rounds right there. And there's some other upgrades there as well. The Mutant's getting an upgrade and a couple of the others. So these are just initial numbers. We'll see where those go from Super Test. All right, let's move on. Okay, I said Fjords is getting some changes, and here's some preliminary looks at what that might be. So, oh man. I think there's some good and bad here. The good is they're looking at it. Let's talk about it. I haven't seen it played, so a lot of times you can't just make broad sweeping assumptions on what exactly is going to happen, but let's just take a couple guesses. This spawn down here in the let's go over here where my stupid cursor is supposed to be. This spawn down here in the southeast has the big TD hill, which actually controls the approach to the cap. This side doesn't have any such thing. However, this side has a better capability of turtling up and defending its cap, whereas this one doesn't have a great one other than maybe up here in this top area. Being down here and trying to turtle up is difficult. Working this ridge is difficult because if they control over here, there's side shots. So it was really a tale of two caps, which was kind of interesting. They both were defended a different way. However, you see the little camera thing right here. What they've done is they've created a big TD spot here. Because we needed more camping spots for people, I guess. All right, maybe that. Let me go back to that because I've never found that to be a problem on the northwest spawn. I don't understand where that comes from. However, let's show where it may come from, because guess what? That spot looking this way now sweeps a portion of the approach here. So you're now enticing TD players to get up on this shelf and sit there for the whole game until the enemy team wins most of the map and approaches here, which is what these guys did. At least for these guys, they were able to control this corner. If the enemy won and started to come around and filter into the town, they had some shots on them here. That's not really the same thing on this side. If they come around this corner here, I suppose that's okay, but that's really late game. This can happen fairly mid-game. But coming through here and threatening this cap is always a late game, at least from around here. Up here, if you do create a more dynamic top level, then this could have a bit of play. And I'm not exactly sure what the draw range is. This is 100, 1, 2, 3, 400. So somewhere midfield is where the draw range from way back here is going to be. But you can see looking across here, in this area here, there's still some buildings and it's a little bit of a hilly terrain. So this is going to look like a great spot. And people are going to correlate it to this spot here, but it's not. Not in the way this map is played. So I found that fascinating. The other place this may cover is, and you can't see it here, is there's a new route, which we'll get to in just a minute, up in the north. The guys could be coming around, and there may be shots on them pushing through there as well. So we'll come over here. Yep. This is looking at the little turn. This is the old road. Okay, so the old road that went here and then went up into the top. But look at this. Right here is a new opening to come up and around in the north so that you don't get destroyed trying to push into them by their guys down here, who, oh, by the way, can control this. The southeast spawn controls this area much better than the northwest spawn does because they can get up the hill, which is... I mean, come on, man. You created a sniper hill that only one side can get to. Now, it's hard to use because if they tuck someone here and light you, then all the guys in the bushes here are blasting you, and these guys over here are blasting you. So I get it, but it's more useful to the southeast by far than it is to the northwest. All right, so then we got... So that was interesting. This is the camera coming through that new pass up there, and this area has some undulations, and this is relatively even as far as... Once you get up here and you're not being shot in the rear end from guys down here, which almost never happens unless these guys just failed to take it and your team's rolling anyway. If you can get up here, then at least there's a kind of back and forth between these two teams up here. But that's always been problematic for the northwest spawn to even get to that spot. Usually they're just hiding down here, waiting for this side to make a mistake, which rarely happened. What they've done in the middle is they've created this low zone right here. So this ridge, or this little rise, was always here, but then they've dug out this little way to kind of drive around. The problem is there's a couple buildings in here now as well. The problem is that you get in here in a position like this, there's nowhere to go. If they're all still lined up about where this camera is, where all these trees and stuff are, if they're still lined up back here, it's not like you can come raging out of this hole. And it's exposed to Artie, so you're going to get bombed by Artie. Problematic because it is a little rise right there, but not that big a deal for Artie to splash into there. So these kinds of features on open areas are not very useful based on the way the game is played. But it is better than just a big open field. Not a whole lot, but better. Frankly, if they just switched it back to the way it was, I would not be unhappy. All right, here's an extra, it looks like maybe an extra rock, and then you've got this. I don't know if they've messed too much with this side road that has all the trees along it. You can see the trees right here in the bottom right. Actually, I'm covering it up. Yeah, these guys down here. So those trees are ways you could get up there, and this is the camera looking back towards the northwest. So a couple buildings, those are useless. I mean, I don't know. Nobody's going to rage forward and hide. Late game, they might be a place to post up and try to stop somebody from pushing up. Either way, depending on which way you're looking or going. When there's less guns, but if you try to drive here and get behind this building with all the guns in the game, you're not going to last long. Plus, Artie can splash to either side of that and eventually kill you. But late game, that might be useful. It will block shots and force you to kind of move around in this area, but there's still some trees back here. Looks like maybe a little deforestation, I don't know. So that may be actually a pretty good thing there. Not many trees. There's some rocks and some hold down capability here, but there's no trees on this side other than kind of up here on the bottom right of the screen where my cursor is there. My ugly mug is covering at this point. So that's been goofed around with a little bit, and then we're back to the sniper position right there. So they're giving it a shot. We'll see how it works out. I have a feeling on a couple things, but I'm not always right. What? Let's move on. Okay, let me mention one more thing about the missions, which I sort of glossed over, but I think it's kind of important. This mission here, top 10 by... You have to be top 10 experience to get it, but 20,000 experience total gets you 27 pieces of camouflage. If you're a standard player, even a player with premium, that's a lot of camouflage. You can camouflage 3 or 4 tanks, depending on if they're all TDs or not. So that's good. This other one is not as... It's the wargaming symbol. You get 20 of those. That's just 20,000 damage caused. And you can't sell those from what I can tell, which was kind of irritating. You know, they let us do that a while back, is to sell emblems. If you come over here, and all the special ones like that are over on this side here. Let's see if we can find that bad boy. See, like this thing, I can't sell the stupid... I have 102 Halloween ones. I can't sell the Sabaton ones. I can't sell... That's just irritating. I've got all those different emblems. And if you go to... Here it is. So there's the wargaming one, and you can't sell it. So... It would be nice if you could, but you can't. However, the camouflage I highly recommend getting. You got about 23 hours to knock that out. That's pretty much it. I've got the cute little free tank you got. This is the tankette. Look at this thing. You move away and it looks like you can't even... This guy is in danger of crushing the tankette with his little handgun thing right there. Isn't that cute? I mean, if you're calling your tank a tankette, holy cow. But that was in the very early development stages. Countries that were low on cash or potentially the technical skills, at least initially, some of the first things they looked into were what they called tankettes, which is basically just moving large machine guns around on tracks with a little bit of armor. So kind of an interesting development. In World War I, some of the initial tanks were these big, massive things for the trenches. And then in the intra-war period, a lot of countries kind of went to these smaller, more cost-effective things. And it also let them work on their tank tactics. They had the mobile little thing that could move around, and they would work with that as well when they're trying to figure out how to use tanks in a more mobile way. So it was kind of an interesting tank right there, a little Polish thing. And things like this actually fought the Germans when they pushed in. Although this, I believe, is a prototype. Anyway, that's history according to Guido. It's probably all wrong. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. The channel's going well. We added probably 60 or 70 subscribers in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Somebody gave me a push on Reddit that added a few players. I have started to put some of the videos into the gameplay or game guide area on the forum, trying to push that just a little bit there, help people get a little bit better at the game. I've had a couple pretty good players, forum regulars, have showed up and sent me replays, so that's been good because it's good to help people who are struggling a little bit or who are at the intermediate, but even at the top end, and it's especially useful for games where you get trashed. I do feature those on occasion of myself as well, to kind of discuss how it is that you got hammered right there and how you lost that game, because there's probably more learning in a good player having a loss than showing a good player just raffle stomping things all over the place, because it shows the critical errors in judgment or planning or gameplay that they had, and that's the kind of thing then you want to correct in the future so that you become more what's the word I'm looking for, more predictable, or you're able to do more damage more predictably. It's a word I cannot come up with right now, so I'm going to let it go. Alzheimer's a hell of a thing, fellas. It really is. It's a hell of a thing. All right. That is all I got. Thanks for tuning in. As always, have a good week out there. We'll have Miserable Monday on Monday, and I'll have 2 videos a day for quite a while, actually. I've got a lot stacked up and some more still to bring up to YouTube. But keep sending in the replays, especially if you have a specific thing you want me to look at. Generalized replay is fine, but if you want to say, hey, can you look at timestamp blah, something I did right there, I'll take a look at that as well. And if you got any great replays, we just featured one with a 1375 9 or 10 kill thing. Somebody on the forum sent it in. It was a fantastic replay. I don't know if I've ever seen that many of the they're not legendary, what are they called, the awards that you get, anyway, the top tier awards in one game. That was actually pretty cool. All right, guys, that's all I got. Grab your coffee, play a couple tank games, and we will see you.